What's going on YouTube? I'm off work, so time to get some videos out for you guys. We have 3 coming out like pretty much the second, as fast as I can. We have the Memento review. Obviously, we're going to talk about Dexter. I think we watched Dexter yesterday, if I can remember. I just got out of the shower, so yeah, my hair's a little wet. And then we're going to have a 2K gameplay on the brand new Lowry marketing card. We might do a gameplay on Chris Middleton, maybe. There's some other cards we'll do gameplays on throughout the weekend, especially tomorrow. And if they give us a good all-time card, I'll do it. But, plot, critical reception of the 2000 movie Memento. I've heard a lot of people talk about this movie, and I'm going to be honest here, put, forthright, I don't see the hype in this movie. I can respect this movie, I can respect the concept of it, but I don't get the hype around the movie, It's got a cool concept, but, just the execution is just not amazing. It's well directed and stuff, but it's just not very grasping. But so the film starts with a Polaroid photograph of a dead man as they're kind of rolling the credits. As the sequence plays backwards, the photo reverts to its undeveloped state, entering the camera before the man is shot in the head. And that's really cool. Obviously there's a lot of cool effects, a lot of ingenious cinematography here. The film then continues alternating between black and white and color sequences. That's kind of how the movie goes. And it's kind of weird. A lot of things are being repeated, which is, of course, like a part of having short memory. And yeah, that's cool and everything, and that makes sense, but it's just really weird to me. It threw me off when I was watching it. I don't think this is a terrible movie, but not a movie I wouldn't mind never watching this movie again, though. The black and white sequences begin with Leonard Shelby, a former insurance investigator, in a motel room speaking to an unseen and unknown caller. Leonard has interrogated amnesia and is unable to store recent memories, the result of an attack by 2 men. They attacked him and he's not able to retain information. Leonard explains that he killed the attacker who raped and strangled his wife Catherine, but a second clubbed him and escaped. The police did not accept that there was a second attacker, but Leonard believes the attacker's name is John G. or James G., one of the two. Obviously, he can't quite remember all the details and stuff. So, kind of shit out of luck here. One second, Yeah, okay. James investigates using notes, Polaroid photos, and tattoos to keep track of the information he discovers. He literally tats himself. That's how dedicated he is to find the second killer of his wife. Leonard recalls Sammy Jankis, another interrogated amnesiac from his insurance industry days, to kind of use her to bond. They've kind of gone through the same things together and all this type of stuff. After tests confirmed Sammy's inability to learn tasks through repetition, Leonard believed that his condition was at best psychological and perhaps faked, and turned down his insurance claim. Sammy's distraught wife repeatedly asked Sammy to administer her insulin shots for her diabetes, hoping he would remember having recently given her a shot and avoid giving her a fatal overdose. Why the hell would you trust a man that has a bad memory to do anything medical on you? You know what I mean? However, Sammy administered each injection and his wife died. He killed his wife. Again, your dumbass let him do that. I don't really understand the point of that. So the color sequences are shown reverse chronologically, so it's a really confusing movie if you don't look things up on it. So in the story's chronology, I guess, Leonard self-directively gets a tattoo of John G's license plate, so he can fucking remember this guy's license plate, all his personal information. It's a really weird situation. Finding a note in his clothes, he meets Natalie, a bartender who resents Leonard because he wears the clothes and drives the car of her boyfriend, Jimmy Grant. Jimmy G. And he thinks it's John G, I guess? I don't know. I was super confused with this movie. I know this is going to be kind of a half-ass review, but yeah. After understanding Leonard's condition, she uses it to get Leonard to drive a man named Dodd out of town and offers to run the license plate as a favor through the Department of Motor Vehicles database. I guess she has connections to that. I don't fucking know. Meanwhile, Leonard meets with a contact, Teddy, who helps with Dodd, but warns about Natalie. She's kind of a fucked up individual. She'll do, she's manipulative, She'll do crazy shit to you. You can easily be manipulated if you have short-term memory loss. Leonard finds that he had previously annotated his Polaroid of Teddy, warning himself not to trust Teddy. And he looks at it and he's like, oh shit, like, I'm not supposed to be trusting this guy right now. And it's such a weird dynamic. This film is just so weird, for so many reasons. Natalie provides Leonard with the driver's license for a John Edward Gamble, Teddy's full name. And that's actually who the fuck Teddy is. It's John Gamble. He's an undercover police officer. And yeah. Confirming Leonard's information on John G. and his warnings, Leonard drives Teddy to an abandoned building, leading to the opening where he shoots him again. It's like, yeah, he shoots the guy. Yeah, it's reverse chronological order. And again, it's really weird how they do that, but it just shows like the disoriented nature of having short-term memory loss. In the final black and white sequence, prompted by the caller, Leonard meets with Teddy, an undercover officer who has found Leonard's John G, Jimmy, and directs Leonard to the abandoned building. Jimmy being Jimmy something. I don't remember his last name, but obviously he was with Natalie. He was like with Natalie and stuff, you know. When Jimmy arrives, Leonard strangles him fatally and takes a Polaroid photo of the body. As the photo develops, the black and white transitions to the final color sequence, so the movie kind of like wraps up pretty well. I mean, the ending's not bad. Leonard swaps clothes with Jimmy, hearing him whisper Sammy. As Leonard has only told Sammy's story to those he has met, he suddenly doubts Jimmy's role in his wife's murder, and maybe he killed the wrong fucking person. And because he's so like out of it, it's kind of fucked up, man, but like he doesn't even know what the hell he's doing half the time, and he could easily get in trouble for this. Teddy arrives and asserts that Jimmy was John G, but when Leonard is undeterred, Teddy says that he helped him kill the real attacker a year ago, and Teddy has been using Leonard ever since, obviously because of memory loss. Teddy points out that since the name John G is common, Leonard will cyclically forget and begin a search again, and that even Teddy himself has a John G name, but that doesn't mean he's John G. He's not the John G. Doesn't mean he's the John G that Leonard's looking for. And if it's a super common thing, it's like a John Doe type of name, like, yeah, you're gonna think that fucking everyone's John G with the name John G. Everyone's that John G, if you know what I mean. It's like super fucking, a lot of rhyming here. It's super confusing, but I mean, that's how it goes. That's how it goes when you have this memory loss. Further, Teddy says that Sammy's story is Leonard's own story, a memory Leonard has repressed to escape feelings of guilt. So he pretty much has all his memories since like his wife got killed, but ever since then he can't remember shit. So after hearing Teddy confess all of this, Leonard burns the photograph of the dead Jimmy and the photo of himself right after killing the real attacker a year ago, pointing to his chest where he would get a tattoo to document his successful revenge. Gotta remember that I actually got revenge so I don't have to come back and do it again, like that sort of thing. In a monologue, Leonard explains that he is willing to lie to himself in order to get justice against anyone who has wronged him. He, therefore, forgets Teddy by ordering a tattoo of Teddy's license plate number and writing a note to himself that Teddy is not to be trusted so that he will mistake Teddy for John G and kill him once again, and that's what leads to the beginning of the movie. Leonard drives off in Jimmy's car, confident that, despite this lie, he will retain enough awareness of the world to know that his actions have consequences. It's really fucking confusing. I don't know, you kind of get lost in it all. It's not a bad movie, but yeah. A lot of people are talking about it. I mean, 93%, 179 reviews, 8.3 out of 10 on Rotten Tomatoes. So Christopher Nolan skillfully guides the audience through Memento's fractured narrative, seeping his film in existential dread. And maybe I should watch this again sometime in the future, just to understand everything, because it's such a confusing film. 8.1 out of 10 with 34 critics, universal acclaim on Metacritic, probably one of the better movies we've seen rated on there. 4 out of 4 for James Berardinelli. Number 1 on his year-end top end list, number 63 on his all-time top 100 films, so he thinks the film's pretty good. It's an endlessly fascinating, wonderfully open-ended motion picture that will be remembered by many who see it as one of the best films of 2000. Maybe it was one of the best films around that time, but it's such a confusing movie. I like the concept, though, for sure. The film's backward narrative was cool. I mean, what really distinguishes this film is its brilliant, innovative structure. Guy Pearce gives an astounding, tight, and thoroughly convincing performance. And this, a lot of people are saying this is like a top 3 movie of the decade. I wouldn't go that far, but hey. Memento is a delicious one-time treat. Director Christopher Nolan not only makes Memento work as a non-linear puzzle film, but as a tense, atmospheric thriller. You kind of do have to watch this like one time and just be done with it. Nolan has a crackerjack command of the intricacies of this story. He makes every single element of the film a clue to the larger picture as the story edges back through the origins of Leonard's quest. Here, I'm going to read some negative reviews, I guess. In forward progression, the narrative would garner little interest, thus making the reverse storytelling a filmmaker's conceit. I think it being told in reverse order made it better, but I don't know. For all its formal wizardry, Memento is ultimately an ice-cold feat of intellectual gamesmanship. Once the visceral thrill of the puzzle structure begins to wear off, there's nothing left to hang on to. The film itself fades like one of Leonard's temporary memories. It does kind of fade. I mean, I can kind of agree with that. Like, once you figure out what the hell is happening, it's told in backwards order, so it's like, oh, well, we know what's going to fucking happen. You know what I mean? You gave us the ending at the beginning of the movie. So, like, I don't know. It's a weird situation. This is one of the weirder movies I've seen on this channel. Or reviewed, anyway. 3 out of 4 for Roger Ebert. I don't think it warrants multiple viewings. Greater understanding helped on the plot level, but didn't enrich the viewing experience. Confusion is the state we are intended to be in. You're supposed to be confused while watching this, I suppose. Some people didn't like it. Memento is a gimmicky and unpoetic counterfeit of Alan Resnais. Who the fuck cares about a 1968 film? Like, let's stop comparing movies to other movies that came out in 1968. This was a top 100 greatest screenplays ever written by the Writers Guild of America. 14th best edited film of all time for Motion Pictures Editors Guild. A survey of its membership kind of did something there. Memento is culturally, historically, or aesthetically significant. All right. And yeah. National Film Registry, first narrative feature of the 2000s to be honored in 2017. So it's an iconic movie. I mean, a lot of people like it. It is really confusing, but I guess that's the point. So at the end of the day, I don't have too many critiques to have on this movie. There's not much to be said, but it's still a decent movie, you know. There's not a whole lot to it. I don't know. Again, you learn everything that's supposed to happen at the beginning of the movie. So it's a really interesting one, but leave a like, comment, subscribe. I am happy I watched it. The people kind of hyping it up maybe shouldn't have hyped it up so much, but it's definitely a movie you should watch at least once. It's very interesting directing. Christopher Nolan obviously making his name on movies like this. So yeah, up next we're going to talk about Dexter, and then we are going to be doing a 2K gameplay on the brand new Lowry Markkinen.